I have given her the permission to record, and I'm also making you the host, so you can share the screen with everybody. So this evening we have Krishna Govind Prabhu, who will be reciting English, um, sorry, Sanskrit, and then we have, I'm just going to confirm, for English we have Neha Mataji, who will be doing the English recitation. So Antaranga Prabhu, welcome once again, and thank you for giving us your time. And I hand it over to you now to share the screen so the two devotees can begin the recitation of this chapter 15, after which we will, it'll be back, the floor will be back to you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Divyanam Prabhu. So, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be here today with you. I'm very happy for that. And just as a confirmation, can someone confirm that you can see clearly the verses, correct?
Yeah, we can see Anantaka.
Hare Krishna Govinda Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. How are you?
Good, good. Good to have your association, at least virtually like this. So, yes, please, I think we can start. And after the recitation, we will go through the presentation of verse 6 of the chapter 15. So, Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, everyone. Reading from chapter 15 of the Bhagavad Gita, Yoga of the Supreme Person. Please forgive me if I make any mistakes in pronouncing the Sanskrit verses. The first few verses are a bit difficult. Omagana Timandasya Ganantana Chalakaya Akshurmaritam Yena Tasme Shikarve Namaha. Just quickly check, Mataji, are you ready to read the English translation?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yes, I am. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Okay, next one. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Udvamulam Adakashatam Ashvatam Prabhu Avyayam Kandam Sri Yasha Pranani Yastam Veda Savedavid.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, it is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas.
Text 2. Padashtodvam Prashiratas Tasya Sakha Guna Pravida Vishaya Pravala Adasha Mulani Anushanta Tatani Karmanu Bandhini Manusha Loke.
The branches of this tree extend downward and upward. Nourished by the three modes of material nature, the twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society.
Text 3 and 4. Narupamashesha Tatopalapayate Nanto Natati Nata Sapratista Ashvatamina Suviruddha Mulam Ashanga Shastrina Tidena Chitta Chatapatam Tat Parima Kavitavyam Yasmin Gatachana Nivatati Bhuya Tameva Kadya Purusha Prapadye Yatta Pavriti Prachesta Purani.
The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial.
6.5. Nirmana Moha Jita Sangha Dusha Adhyatma Nitya Vinivritta Kama Vandve Mukta Sukadu Sukha Sangye Kajanti Amuda Padamavyat Tat.
Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who unbewildered know how to surrender onto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom.
6. Nata Pachayate Suryo Na Shashanko Na Pavaka Yat Katva Na Nivatante Tatama Paramama.
That supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world.
7. Amevamsho Jivaloke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana Manasasati Nitriyani Prakriti Stani Kachati.
The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind.
6. Shariram Yata Vapnoti Yachapi Utkamati Sravaha Vihit Kanisham Yati Vayu Kandam Vivashayat.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another.
9. Shotam Chakshus Pashanam Cha Vasanam Grananam. Sorry. Vasanam Granam Evacha Adhistaya Manashaya Vishayam Upas Evate.
The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Section Kramantam Sitam Vapi Munjana Vanavitam Vimudam Nano Pashyanti Pashyanti Jnana Takshusha.
The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this.
Text 11. Yatanto Yugnashinam Pashyanti Atmani Avestitam Yatanto Pi Ukritatmano Naina Pashyanti Atetasha.
The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try.
Text 12. Yataditya Tejo Jagat Pashayate Kilam Jatandramasi Yachakno Tateja Vidhi Mamakam.
The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me.
Text 30. Kama Vishyata Bhutani Narayami Ahamojasa Pushnami Chashoti Sarvaha Soma Bhutva Rasatmakaha.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
Text 40. Aha Vaishvanoro Bhutva Pani Namdeham Ashritaha Panapana Samyuktaha Uchami Anonam Chaturvidam.
I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff.
Text 50. Sarvasya Jaham Hridisani Vishto Atasmiti Jnanam Apopanam Cha Vedescha Sarve Ahamiva Vedyo Vedanta Kritveda Vedevachaham.
I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
660. Vaimo Purushatoloke Shara Chaksharai Vacha Shara Sarvani Bhutani Kutosto Shara Uchyate.
There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible.
670. Matamaha Purushatvarya Paramatmeti Udatita Yolokatrayam Avishya Vihati Avyaya Ishvaraha.
Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them.
680. Yasmasharam Apitoham Aksharatapitottamaha Atosmi Loke Videta Ratitaha Purushottamaha.
Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person.
Yoyam 619. Yo Mameva Mashamudo Janati Purushottamam Sasarevi Pajatimam Sava Bhavena Bharata.
Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, without doubting, is a knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata.
620. Iti Guyatmanam Shastram Ida Mukta Mayanaga Etat Mutva Pudimam Shyat Vitva Vityacha Bharata.
This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
Hare Krishna. Over to you, Antaranga Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you
Hare
so
Krishna.
much. Very nice pronunciation, very beautiful presentation. Thank you so much. It's very good to hear you, Krishna Govinda Prabhu, and thank you for the offering. So today we're going to be going through the 6th verse of the 15th chapter Bhagavad Gita, and I prepare kind of like a small presentation. Let's see if I can do it. Just a quick question. Everyone can see it?
No, Prabhuji.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
It's the same screen here.
So it goes like this then. Okay, how about now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Just another check. Voice is okay? Everyone can hear me loud and clear? Everyone can
Yes,
see?
Prabhuji.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes, Antaranga Prabhu.
So, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. And I think I'm going to go straight away through the verse and through the purport because it's kind of a long purport. So, text number 6. Natad Pashti Suryo Nasha Shanko Napavaka Yadgatva Na Nivartante Tadhama Paramam Mama. Translation. That supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to the material world. Purport. The spiritual will be the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, which is known as Krishna Loka, Goloka Vrindavan, is described here. In the spiritual sky, there is no need for sunshine, moonshine, fire, or electricity, because all the planets are self-luminous. We have only one planet in this universe, the sun, which is self-luminous, but all the planets in the spiritual sky are self-luminous. The shining effulgence of all those planets, called Vaikunthas, constitute the shining sky known as the Brahmajyoti. Actually, the effulgence is emanating from the planet of Krishna, Goloka Vrindavan. Part of that shining effulgence is covered by the Mahatattva, the material world. Other than this, the major portion of that shining sky is full of spiritual planets, which are called Vaikunthas, chief of which is Goloka Vrindavan. As long as a living entity is in this dark material world, he is in conditioned life. But as soon as he reaches the spiritual sky, by cutting through the false, perverted tree of this material world, he becomes liberated. Then there is no chance of his coming back here. In this conditioned life, the living entity considers himself to be the Lord of this material world. But in his liberated state, he enters into the spiritual kingdom and becomes an associate of the Supreme Lord. There he enjoys eternal bliss, eternal life, and full of knowledge. One should be captivated by this information. He should desire to transfer himself to that eternal world and extricate himself from this false reflection of reality. For one who is too much attached to this material world, it is very difficult to cut that attachment. But if he takes to Krishna consciousness, there is a chance of gradually becoming detached. One has to associate himself with devotees, those who are in Krishna consciousness. One should search out a society dedicated to Krishna consciousness and learn how to discharge devotional service. In this way, he can cut off his attachment to the material world. One cannot become detached from the attraction of the material world simply by dressing himself in saffron cloth. He must become attached to the devotional service of the Lord. Therefore, one should take it very seriously that devotional service, as described in the 12th chapter, is the only way to get out of this false representation of the real tree. In chapter 14, the contamination of all kinds of processes by material nature is described. Only devotional service is described as purely transcendental. The words paramam mama are very important here. Actually, every nook and corner is the property of the Supreme Lord, but the spiritual world is paramam, full of 6 opulences. The Katha Upanishad 2.215 also confirms that in the spiritual world, there is no need of sunshine, moonshine, or stars. Nat tatra surya bhati na chandra tarakam. For the whole spiritual sky is illuminated by the internal potency of the Supreme Lord. That supreme abode can achieve only by surrender and by no other means. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Yay.
So yes, very wonderful purport, very nice verse, one of the very important verses in Bhakti Shastri. This is one of the verses that we all learn and we all study. Natad Bashyata Surya Nashastra Pavaka Yat Gatva Nanivartante Tad Dharma Paramama. That supreme abode of mind is not illuminated by the sun nor moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So we can see that Srila Prabhupada was very much emphasizing, this is basically the verse. So we can see I kind of selected few points and few topics which are kind of which are predominating in this verse. And the topic number 1 was description of the spiritual world. So why is necessary to have description? Ultimately, we should understand what is the goal, what is the destination, and where we actually want to go. It is many times mentioned the importance of knowledge and understanding, the gyan. So because if you don't know what is your goal, what is the prayojana, sambandha abhidaya prayojana, what is the prayojana of your devotional practice, then you cannot easily answer the question why. Why are you doing these activities? And the answer to question why I'm performing these activities is because that transcendental realm is self-luminous, is very beautiful. There's no need of electricity. There's no need of sun. There's no need of any objects which kind of show the path, which illuminates the path. Basically, many acharyas are commenting in this connection that the spiritual world is luminous due to being powered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And they put this in a very interesting connection. They connected that because Krishna is the Purushottam, the supreme enjoyer, the supreme master, and we as Atmas are part and parcels of the Supreme Lord. So this illumination is actually very natural for us. Therefore, we should know that this state of consciousness and this state of our current position in this material world is very unfortunate, and it is actually not what we are striving for. So I've been looking a few other points through other commentaries. So there's one very interesting website, and I would suggest devotees, if they desire, just to enhance their wisdom. It's called Bhagavad-Gita.org. And basically on this website, you can find the four acceptable commentaries from the four sampradayas. So I just found two very interesting points which are describing this activity in the spiritual world. So point number one, this is commentary from Ramanujacharya. External luminosity is only able to dissolve the obscurity.
What? I can see you then.
I know.
Okay, I would like to request those devotees if they can mute themselves so we can have a presentation. Afterwards, I will open it up for questions. So thank you very much. So external luminosity is only able to dissolve the obscurity that intervenes between the senses perceiving their objects. So quite a lofty sentence, quite interesting. And he's putting actually in comparison, he's comparing the external luminosity of material objects like the sun, like the fire, like the moon, like the electricity, in comparison with the spiritual objects, right? Because everyone in the Vaikuntha realm, everyone in the realm of spirituality, in the spiritual realm, they're naturally effulgent. And then Prabhupada is connecting this, that this effulgence actually emanates from Goloka Vrindavan. And ultimately, the source of effulgence of Brahmajyoti is Krishna himself. But here Ramanujacharya is saying that external luminosity or material luminosity can only dissipate the darkness or clear the darkness between two objects. But in the spiritual realm, there's no such thing as a darkness. Everything is beautiful, everything is very nice and shining. So on the practical scale, this knowledge is very important for us to understand where we're going and to which place, or what is the goal, what do we want to achieve. Another commentary by Keshav Kashmiri, who represents the Kumar Sampradaya, he speaks that the Supreme Lord, more resplendent than the sun, illuminates all within and without. Only by realizing him is a jiva or embodied being able to transcend samsara, the perpetual circle of birth and death. There is no other possibility. So again, Prabhupada in his commentary to the Bhagavad Gita says that only by understanding the activities, appearance, disappearance of the Supreme Lord, this knowledge and this information and these details can actually free us from the samsara, from the circle of life. So by having this knowledge, by having this jnana, by active process of devotional service, you can actually get something which is higher than knowledge, which is vijnana. So Prabhupada was many times emphasizing that higher than knowledge, higher than philosophy is actually realization and practical application. But to have the force, to have the strength, and to have the desire to perform that activity, you need to understand what is on the other end. Therefore, books like Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Bhagavad Gita are giving us details and hints what is on the other side. Therefore, that is the importance of revealed scriptures like Bhagavad Gita. So next topic, in this dark material world. So you can see that I was trying to get these commentaries or these points from Prabhupada. So there is start of the second paragraph. As long as a living entity is in this dark material world, he is in conditioned life. But as soon as he reaches the spiritual sky, by cutting through the false perverted tree of this material world, he becomes liberated. So again, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the second canto, is emphasized the different layers different so-called contaminations, different layers of the material cosmos. You have the five material elements, the three subtle elements, and through all of these layers, it's actually very difficult to kind of penetrate them through some mechanical process, like, I don't know, Ashtanga Yoga, Hatha Yoga, or Jnana Yoga. But through the process of bhakti, what happens is that these layers, these kind of this contamination of this material becomes very simple to overcome. Prabhupada quite often speaks about the analogy that the ocean of nescience shrinks to such a degree that becomes like an imprint of a hoof of a calf into a mud. And therefore, you can very easily cross over it. Therefore, the power of devotional service is that when you engage yourself in this way, you can overcome it very, very simply. So the three modes of material nature are very difficult to overcome, but through the process of devotional service, it's very simple. So let's see another slide. What do we have here? Yes, so in this subtopic, we can see the two differences or two living entities based on two stages of their devotional practice or practice at all. Two stages of living entities. Conditioned stage, living entity in dark material world. Consider himself to be the Lord of material world. Basically, this is based on the ego. One is called the false ego, another one is called the real ego, the true rupa, the true form. The false ego means aham mameti, this is mine, this is who I am, this is what I think about myself, and this is how I perceive myself, and this is how I want others to perceive myself. So all of these ahankars, all of this false ego is perceived through our actions. On the other side, the liberated state is that reaches spiritual sky by cutting through the false perverted tree, as we mentioned before, becomes an associate of the Lord, enjoy eternal life full of bliss and full of knowledge, never comes back. So in comparison, these two stages refer to the consciousness. When we study Bhagavad Gita, we see that the consciousness is very of great importance. Because even in this material world, if your consciousness is elevated, you can become Jiva Bhuta, already liberated soul, even in this material world. What does this mean? Prabhupada was quite often referring that Vrindavan is a tract of land, at the same time is a state of consciousness. So you can always be in Vrindavan. You can have Vrindavan consciousness. You can have Goloka consciousness. You can have Mayapur consciousness, and so on. Because consciousness is not attached to specific piece of land, rather is attached to activities, meditations, and practice. So in the end, I'm going to leave some kind of a time for questions and points for anyone who wishes to discuss or open anything that he would like to go through. So point number 3 is he should desire. So Prabhupada was saying and referring in this verse that these sort of presentations of the spiritual realm are there to attract us. One of the activities or one of the functions of Krishna appearing in this material world is obviously to reestablish the Dharma, to annihilate the miscreants, and to protect the devotees. But at the same time, it is actually even to attract anyone and everyone who wants to come back to Godhead. So all the Krishna's activities are there to create attraction, right? All these beautiful pastimes Krishna was performing, all these activities he was doing, all the knowledge he was presenting, everything he was teaching us and showing us is there to attract us. So this specific verse, the description of the spiritual world, is to attract us, right? Most of you are in Grihastha ashram, so I guess when you're going to be in the spiritual world, there will be no electricity bills. You don't need to pay any electricity because everything will be self-luminous. You don't, like here in England, I think the autumn is kind of start kicking in slowly. And sometimes the days have become shorter, right? So that will be constantly very beautiful, nice, lovely weather. Everything will be self-luminous. So, and one of the other points which Prabhupada was mentioning here in in the verse was Paramam Mama. So one of the acharyas are commenting that Tat Dhamma Paramam Mama. This is in Saharta Varshini Tika in the commentary by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur. Tat Dhamma Paramam Mama refers that Dhamma, Prabhupada say Dhamma, Tat Dhamma means that abode. Paramam supreme and Mama my. So Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur comments that Krishna is actually establishing that not only this dham, only this spiritual realm belongs to me, but Prabhupada is again re-emphasizing that everything, every corner, every nook, everything belongs to me. Tadhama, that dham or dadham, whatever dham it is, everything belongs to Krishna. Paramam. So this Paramam, this supreme dham belongs to me. But at the same time, it is said that 3/4 of the whole creation consists of the spiritual realm, and that 1/4, which is Ekavibhuti, Ekavibhuti is that Mahatattva, that creation, the material realm, which we as a living entities reside at the moment. So there are points mentioned here in terms of how can, by practical application of Krishna consciousness, we may feel attracted to go back to the spiritual realm. So helps with gradual detachment. And my kind of education by trade was psychologist. So I was practicing psychology and I was working in psychiatry. And one of the practical processes of helping patients with their diseases, with their problems and addictions, rather than focusing on addiction itself, we try to focusing on creating new habits. So let's say someone has some difficulties with intoxication or with some other illicit activities. So rather than necessarily focusing completely on those activities, we focus on developing greater bhajan, bigger mood, or more attachment to something which is positive. So this is called cognitive behavioral psychology. And the same thing we apply actually in devotional life. So rather than us struggling with, oh, I can't follow the regulated principles, or I can't do really this, or I have difficulties with this and that, what we can do is that we can actually focus on developing higher taste for spirituality, for Krishna consciousness, specifically, for chanting, for reading, for association, for prasadam, whatever it is, literally whatever helps you to overcome those difficulties. So, and in the end, only devotional service is purely transcendental. So we know that in Bhagavad Gita, it is present the yoga ladder, right? If you can't do this, do this. If you can't study, then work. If you can't work, then meditate. If you can't meditate, do this, and so on. But ultimately, all of this yoga ladder is coming to a point of bhakti, love, devotion, and attraction. So as everything that we do in Krishna consciousness, there needs to be some result. So whenever we speak, whenever we give classes, presentations, there needs to be some practical change. Therefore, this practical change is books, right? What it would be that Divyanand Prabhu and myself and Vrindavan Chandra Prabhu and other Vaishnavas who desire to see the people reading Prabhupada's books, I mean, we have to end up in some way to connect it to Sankirtan. So Prabhupada said this wonderful analogy. If you say to some homeless person or to a beggar on the street that, well, your father is a very rich man, your father is very, very opulent, very intelligent, and he's got everything that you desire, that person will be very grateful to you if you show him the path. Therefore, by distributing Gita or giving Gita to someone, you're actually giving the highest benediction and you're performing the highest charity. So Harinam Sankirtan means actually showing people the path back home. So it's not just a phrase, go back home, back to Godhead, but it's instruction. It's instruction for those which are on the path to participate in actually inviting others to take this path as well seriously. Because let's be honest, there's not much out there which is truly palatable, which is truly something which give people such a pleasure. And you can see even today, in today's age, specifically in this whole world situation, people are actually suffering very much. And there's kind of a, how do you call it, like abuse. A lot of people are suffering due to being alone with their mind and not being able to participate in so many different activities, which are actually distraction, distract them constantly. Therefore, if you give them some shanti, some peace, and some Krishna consciousness, in this way you can be a truly charitable person. Specifically in this month of Purushottam, it magnifies thousands upon thousands of times. So, okay, I think I spoke too much, and I think that should be hopefully sufficient. So I'll open it now for any comments, suggestions, questions, and anything devotees would like to share. Otherwise, thank you so much from my side. Hope it was not too quick, like I haven't spoken too much and too quickly. So if devotees would like to unmute themselves and present any comments or anything interesting from the Prabhupada purport or whatever was spoken now.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for a wonderful class. Prabhuji, you mentioned something about knowing the prayojana of devotional service. Now in Kapila Dev in Canto 3 says that the goal is to meditate on Krishna and free us from the effects of modes. Is that what you meant by knowing the prayojana of devotional service?
It is interesting, the sentence you actually just said that. It is said the goal is to meditate. So meditate in itself is an activity. And on Krishna,
yeah,
Krishna is the goal. So what is interesting about certain verses is that they can encapsulate philosophy, practical application, and goal. And I read recently one verse from Chaitanya Bhagavat with the commentary of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. And it was such a profound thing. And I took a picture of it. If you just give me a second, and I will find it. It's just a very, very powerful verse. Oh, Krishna, where is it? It goes like Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Dhan. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti Yoga Dhan, Bhakti E Krishna, Namasmara Pradhan. Translation: devotional service, devotional service, devotional service is the greatest treasure. Devotional service means crying while remembering Krishna's names. And this is commentary by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj. He said, the first bhakti in the phrase Bhakti Yoga was written to indicate sambandha, the relationship with God. The second bhakti was written to indicate abhideya, which means the activities in that relationship. And the third bhakti was written to indicate prajna, the goal of life. Devotional service manifests in the heart that has been melted by hearing, chanting, and remembering. So it was a very beautiful verse, and I find it so interesting. So thank you for the question. Hope it answered something.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Wonderful.
Hare Krishna, Antaranga Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. This is Palika Mataji here.
Hare Krishna, Palika Mataji.
Thank you for your wonderful class. I just want to clarify my understanding. When you said prajna, isn't it the love of Godhead? That's our ultimate goal. Prajna is the what we want to do, and avida is the process, and the ultimate is actually the prajna. That's the ultimate goal, which is love of Godhead.
Yes.
Yeah.
So prajna is physical and metaphysical same time.
Yeah.
Physical as a dham, as a destination, as we've been describing the Goloka Vrindavan. That's the dham kind of a personification of prayojana. And the metaphysical as a mood or a rasa or a taste is that love of God. So it's also internal mood. It's also that we want to practice something based on philosophy to develop certain mood. And as I mentioned, Vrindavan is a state of consciousness. Therefore, Vrindavan is a physical place, but same time is a very mood. It's a mood of a devotee. So yes, you're correct. Both it's love of God, but same time it's a destination where you want to go. When you say, I want to go back to Godhead.
Thank you. So it's a combination of two stages.
I would say it's both. It's achinta beda beda tattva in the sense that it's a mood of a devotee, but same time it's a destination where you want to go.
Okay. Thank you very much for confirming.
Thank you so much. Very nice question.
Hare Krishna.
Any other points or comments? Krishna Govinda Prabhu, would you like to add anything, Prabhu? Or anyone else?
Hare Krishna and Antaranga Prabhu. Can you hear me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Actually, it was just a general curious question I wanted to ask you. One of the slokas mentions that, I am the moon, by the explain of the moon, I supply the juice of life to all vegetables. It's always fascinated me, that verse, since I was quite young. Is there any sort of scientific evidence to acknowledge that? Of course, these are Krishna's words, and Krishna's words are always absolute. But I'm just thinking from a scientific point of view, has there been sort of any reference to the importance of the moon's rays to the vegetables, supplying juice of life?
Very nice question. Recently, I was in Bangladesh, Belgium, and there was one very nice devotee. He was French devotee. His name was Thibaut. And this young gentleman, he was studying agriculture. And we had a conversation that actually in the Vedas, the presence of moon is very, very important, because we understand that moon influence the earth in terms of, the water, how the oceans are changes, right? How the shore is kind of, I don't know what's the specific term for it. When the ocean goes further on the shore and then it kind of goes back again. So,
tides.
Yeah. Say that again, please.
The tides.
Yes, exactly. Tides, yes. So actually, if you look at the soil, the moon influences the water in the soil as well. So sometimes in a certain time, the soil takes the water more on the surface, and sometimes the moon pushes water deeper into the surface.
All right.
Therefore, in Vedic tradition, also in the cultural tradition, there are certain times when you plant the seeds of different plants. So, for instance, according to the moon, according to the schedule of the moon. So let's say when there's a lot of surface water, then you plant this type of seeds, and they will take up very nicely. When the moon is this period, then you plant this type of seeds, because they can draw the water from deeper spheres of the soil. So there is one specific Shastra, Veda, which speaks about agriculture and directly about connection with the moon. I can't remember. I can do some research for you. If you desire, I can send you some material.
No, that's okay. You sort of answered it very well. I mean, of course, whatever Krishna says is always absolute, and also we shouldn't sort of accept everything blindly. There is a curious stage in our spiritual practice. Everything we see around you, it's all through the splendor. Know that of all beautiful, opulent, glorious creations, it's but a spark of my splendor. But it's always fascinating. Some of the verses from Bhagavad Gita, you always want to show it from a scientific point of view, so you can actually portray that message across to those who are perhaps new in Krishna consciousness, or somebody who's more from a scientific background, multicultural background. Thank you so much, Antaranga Prabhu. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, there's always science to Krishna consciousness. It's not just some kind of a sentiment, but the presentation of Bhagavad Gita is very scientific and very beautiful, very profound presentation. So,
Hare Krishna, Antaranga Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, just connected to this question, as you said that according to the moon and the effect of the water, that time they sow certain grains. So do you mean they sow it at night? Because the moon shines at night. So just wanted to, just a curiosity.
Out of practicality, I think usually it's done during the day, but actually planting the seeds is according, obviously to the moon. But usually in the right Vedic standard, if everything is correct, then what happens is that during the night there's a light rain, and during the day there is a kind of a nice, refreshing sun, not too hot, not too cold. So during the day they don't see it that much.
Okay.
But in this specific connection, when Krishna is actually saying that I'm the taste of water, I'm the strength and ability in man, and I'm the shine of the moon, which gives the juice to the vegetables. This is where Krishna is actually indicating that he's present in so-called material aspects that we can perceive with our senses. Sometimes when you say that Krishna is all-pervading, Krishna is the supreme, Krishna is the source of Brahman. These concepts are very hard to grasp.
Yeah.
But if you say Krishna is the taste of water, that's a meditation. If you say that Krishna is the source of the sun, that's a good meditation which you can grasp and perceive. Therefore, in this connection, the Bhagavad Gita on Krishna presents it that so people and devotees in the future can connect with him on a more, I would say, down-to-earth way. To kind of it's much more easier to perceive Krishna in this way.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a practical, so then ordinary people, everybody can understand that, right?
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay. Sorry. Yes. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for making this so simple, and I hope you keep coming again and again to these sessions. I have in fact, I'm troubled by this particular question, so I needed to ask it. In this shloka, Pavaka strictly means fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why Prabhupada is also saying fire and electricity? Because to me, Prabhupada being a pure devotee, he will never dilute or misconstrue the meaning of a shloka or a word. But there must be a reason why, because Pavaka we all know strictly means fire only. So it is the fire that is the energy. Like in sun, there is fusion reaction and all those type of things. So I don't know why Prabhupada is, because to me, it seemed like an attempt to connect to a common people because they understand electricity, but I was not satisfied with it. So why specific mention of electricity in terms of Pavaka?
That's an interesting question. And if I would have a tend to answer, I'll be speculating. So I don't want to do that. I'm not a Sanskrit scholar. But what we can do, what I will do now, I will show you how I study and how I do research. Okay?
That would be great.
So now I will show you what I usually do when I have questions like this. Can everyone see it, what I'm doing now?
Prabhuji, we see the screen with devotees, I guess.
So now I'm going to show you something. This is basically an app or a program called Vedabase, which is very, very, very useful. And I'm going to go through Sanskrit dictionary, and I'm going to type there Pavaka.
Oh, brilliant. Prabhuji, where can I get this program?
You just type database program on Google, and you'll find it. And it's basically got everything you desire. Pavakaha. Okay. So these are some of the options. Can you see it? Can everyone see this?
Yes.
So here is translated as fire, fire, fire. This is 5.6 Bhagavad Gita, so electricity. Pavana, that goes into purification. Let's see what other Vaishnava acharyas have to say.
Prabhu, a small question. What's in the brackets
Which brackets?
after fire?
Okay. You mean this one?
No, yes, where you have highlighted fire, and near the fire, I mean in English, yes, that's the
These
one.
ones. These ones are references.
So references, where does it lead us to?
I think this one, this B15.6, that's Bhagavad Gita.
Okay.
You know, that's the exact verse which we've been going through now.
Yes.
For instance, this B means 223, also Bhagavad Gita.
Right.
And I'm assuming this S means Srimad Bhagavatam, 9448.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
So these are references to the research. So let's see how different acharyas are translating it. So this is Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Amanaya Sutra, and is also translated this verse, no electricity. Let's see some different ones. This Sanskrit. This connection, Pavaka, means the purifier. This Pavaka is translated as fire. This is by Jiva Goswami. This is Rupa Goswami. Yeah. I don't know, Prabhu. I can't tell how Prabhupada was thinking. Why did he make such a translation? Because Pavaka refers to fire. I can't
bother you with that question. In fact, it was troubling me.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I wanted to ask this Pavaka search you have put, is it in Google or is it Veda based, or where is this search you have put?
This one, if you know the program is called Veda Base 2000.
Yes, I know Veda base, yeah.
And this one specifically, this is like, how do you say, like extra attachment to the Veda base. It's called Acharya Folio.
Okay, I did not know about this one. Okay, Acharya Folio. So that is under Veda base then.
Yeah, it's extra attachment, and this is a secret of all brahmacharis. We're happy to reveal it, because what is here, you can have a look. You can see what I'm doing, right? You can see the screen, right?
Yeah,
So,
it's very nice. Yeah.
So look at this. Look at this wonderful treasure.
Wow.
Thakur, everyone, Krishna Das Kaviraj, everything.
So where do I, in Veda base, you said it is extra attachment, right? So is it easily open? It opens easily once I go into Veda base?
Okay, what I'm going to do now is, all of you, if you want, whoever wants this, drop me an email. And
can we have your email address, Prabhuji?
Yeah, my email is Adam.
Prabhuji, can you type it or something in chat message? Then we can just.
I can do that. I just need to figure out how to do it first.
There is a chat box at the bottom. Chat next to participant. Yeah.
Okay, where is it?
Prabhu, do we get Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary as well?
Everything is there, Masaji. Like,
Brilliant. Thank you.
Like everything. Okay, so I'm writing my email into the chat.
Okay.
I forgot how to type that because I have different computer now. But you can figure it out. Can you see it? No.
No, it has not come.
I need to type like this.
Maybe
Prabhuji, if you go on 123, click on that on your computer and you will get the act on that.
Actually, I can just change it like this. Okay, can everyone see it?
Adam, yes, yes.
So this is my email. What you can do, just drop me an email and saying, I want the Acharya folio. And I will somehow kind of share a link or a download for all of you. So you can download it and then you can share it. Maybe one devotee can kind of send me an email or someone and I will share it with them and then you can kind of share it amongst each other. Is that okay?
Yes. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
It is pretty cool actually. This is a lifesaver, you know, this program. I spend hours here.
Yes, because otherwise it is not possible to search. I mean, there is so many books and scriptures. So to get the connection of one word into different scriptures, this is the best way to search.
Yeah, like for instance, boom. I'm just going through Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami now. So it's they have everything here. So pretty far out.
Prabhuji, how did you do the Sandarbhas of Jiva Goswami? All again on the Gaudiya Vaishnav
Yeah, you
Acharyas?
just, it's like this. So
Oh, yes,
you
yes.
just open this,
Yes.
you'll find Jiva Goswami,
Yes, yes, yes.
Sri Tattva Sandarbha, and then you just indulge in studying.
Brilliant.
Okay, so
Thank you.
a bit of philosophy, bit of practicality behind the philosophy. So I'll be very happy.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You have
You get
shown
this.
really great big tips we did not know about.
Yeah, didn't know how to get round to this, but yeah, you've done it.
Yeah, it's a
you.
secret. It's a secret, not secret, but all the devotees. This is instruction of my spiritual master, actually.
Thank you very much. Very kind of you, Prabhu. Extremely
Thank
kind.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antaranga Prabhu. Thank you so much for the wonderful session.
Hare Krishna.
My signal is a little bit bad here, so I think it's for some reason it's a bit unstable today. But if devotees can hear me, thank you, Antaranga Prabhu, for coming on chat and giving us your association. It'll be great to have you more often. So I'll be in touch to arrange that with you, Prabhu. And I hope the devotees, I can see it from the messages and comments and reflections that devotee really had benefited from your association. So we'd like to thank you so much, Antaranga Prabhu, for this evening. And thank you everybody for joining the session. Tomorrow we'll be with His Grace Mukunda Hari Prabhu with the text 7. So thank you again, everybody. Vanchakalpa tarubhyasya kripa sindhubhe vacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Jai.
Thank you, Antaranga.
Thank you, all of you. It was very nice to be in your association in this nice way. So thank you for tolerating me. And I'm waiting for the email, and then you can spread it, share it, study, and get lost in this massive ocean of philosophy.
Thank you very, very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. It was wonderful.
Thank you. My pleasure. All glories to Shri.
And,
Thank you,
All glories to
Prabhuji.
Srila
and nice to meet you too.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Class. Please come again, Prabhuji.
I will try my best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna,
Prabhu.
devotee.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Antaranga Prabhu. Bring some ice cream next time.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Krishna Govinda Prabhu.
Very good.